Alright guys, good morning and welcome to another TA update. Today is the 6th of July 2022 and it's just coming up to 11:30 AM here in the UK. So I'll just do the normal checks, make sure that the audio is working and the video is working and everything seems to be okay. So I apologize for the background noise first of all, because there's gardeners working outside, and so you probably hear the leaf blower and the lawnmowers and all of that stuff. And also apologies for not having done a technical analysis update on Monday. I was feeling like dog shit, suspected case of food poisoning, and I'd been feeling like pretty much just bedridden really for the last sort of 3 days or so. So I really couldn't do it. But I see that you guys have done plenty of profits anyway, so you're all doing pretty well. So anyway, without further ado, let's crack on with the technical analysis update, as everything seems to be working fine. And here on the stock market, you can see that it's a mixed bag yet again. The technology services are mostly in the green. Finance, however, is mostly in the red. Energy, minerals, utilities, transport, manufacturing, health services, all in the red. But you know, retail, trade, technology services, and electronic technology, so basically consumer service, is more or less in the green. So that's for the stock market. As for the cryptocurrency heat map, you can see that the great majority of it is either neutral or green. There's a few exceptions. Some of them are in the red: XRP, XCN, APE. Yeah, I mean there are quite a few in the red here, Curve and so on, but yeah, some of them have actually sustained quite a decent sort of relief bounce. Not really anything dramatic, but in the last few days we've seen a few little runs here. But yeah, we'll have a look as to why that's happened. And but first of all, let's have a look at what this week brings us. So this week we have a couple of things happening, and the first ones that come to mind are basically today at around about 7 p.m. we have the FOMC meeting minutes. So that will 7 p.m. UK time, so I think that's 8 p.m. UTC, and that's basically just the minutes from the FOMC meeting, from the last meeting. So it really depends of what comes out of that, but I mean, I think it's just outlining the position that they're in and what they're wanting to do in the near future. But as you can see, that folder there is in the red, which means that usually it highlights potential volatility coming through. Okay, so particularly for the US. Okay, so the other ones that are coming for the US that are highlighted in red are these ones here, and that's basically the average hourly earnings, the non-farm employment change, and the unemployment rate. And this is on Friday around about 1:30 p.m. UK time. So again, around about 2:30 p.m. I believe UTC. I think UTC is 1 hour after British Summer Time. So it could be an hour before. So I always get those two confused. So I do apologize for that. But I'm looking at UK time here anyway. Okay, so with that out of the way, I think that's pretty much so there could be volatility today, for example, here around about 7 p.m. And then on Friday, we're likely to get some volatility leading up to this event here at 1:30 p.m. For Friday. Okay. So with that out of the way, let's move on straight onto the charts, and I'll start with the correlation chart, just to try and make some sense out of it. Okay, so I was looking at this and seeing if the S&P is a little bit more accurate than the Nasdaq. So I'll start with the Nasdaq here. Right, now you can see here basically on sort of like on the Nasdaq, this is on the 1 hour chart. Okay, just to make it a little bit more granular, you can see that there are a few things that come to mind here. For example, right here we saw the beginning of a pump, right? So in fact, let me just delete these levels here. So you can see my cross hairs anyway. Let me just see if I can do that. Let me just delete that just for a second. Delete those levels. So as you can see here, basically we start seeing a pump on the Nasdaq. It led by so this is at 1 a.m. on the 26th of May, and by 8 p.m. on the 27th of May we saw the run up as well. Okay, so then we see here, for example, we see the beginning. This is the point of release. We're basically the beginning of the drop here on the Nasdaq, and you can see that this kind of led. This was a 9th of June around about 4 p.m. and Bitcoin actually didn't start losing levels until the 10th of June at 7 p.m. Okay, so it's almost a whole 24 hours afterwards. Okay, but it just tells us that these markets are leading. This is an edge, basically. Okay, so the correlation is very much alive still, although it seems to be more correlated to the downside than it is to the upside. As you can see here, we rallied up, and yet Bitcoin did not rally. Okay, Bitcoin just kind of carried on printing lower highs. All right, so the correlation is definitely still there, but it's more correlated to the upside. Correlated to the downside. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to do a million things at the same time. Perhaps not a good idea. So anyway, so that was on the Nasdaq. If you look at it on the S&P, for instance, right, you see that very much the same thing is happening here, right? So you see here, this is the point of release. The point of release is 9th of June around about 5 p.m. It's more or less the same as the Nasdaq, right? And Bitcoin didn't actually drop until 10th of June around about 6 p.m. Okay, so it's literally like 25 hours afterwards. Okay, so you're starting to see a little bit of a pattern there, which means that any significant drops on the Nasdaq, on the S&P, usually are reflected on Bitcoin within 24 hours. Okay, so this is an edge. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Okay, for the upside, not so much. Like we've showed you this before. Basically, here are the markets on the S&P going up parabolically, and Bitcoin's still printing, just going sideways. It's just printing kind of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so of course, then here you can see here the drop. Let's get back to there. See the drop here on the S&P, and almost immediately, as soon as the S&P drops, so does Bitcoin, right? And you can see that the correlation now, it's very much kind of tit for tat there. Okay, a few little exceptions there, but you can see how close that is. So basically the correlation is still very much there. It's not really changed much at all, and even looking at the 4-hour chart, it's very much the same thing. You can see that this was the parabolic move, that we didn't see any move on Bitcoin. However, like I said, when we see a drop, any significant drops that we see on the Nasdaq or the S&P, it's either rather immediate or within 24 hours that it kind of drops as well. Okay, so at the moment Nasdaq is still leading. Okay, and so is the S&P. So that's that out of the way. So I just wanted to highlight that so that you guys know what we're talking about and why I chart these levels. You know, why I kind of like to chart these why I chart these assets, okay, the S&P and the Nasdaq. All right, so I do apologize, I'm still a little bit out of it, so my head is not quite straight yet, but I'll try my best to make this as concise and as objective as possible. Right, so anyway, on the S&P here on the weekly, you can see that we're very much still trying to, we got rejected here, which is the value area low of the 2021 VWAP, right? So this is the value area low, this is the VWAP close, this is the value area high there. Take the magnet off, that's the value area high there, right? That's the VWAP close, this is the value area low, and we got rejected there a couple of times now, and we're still very much trying to get up there. Okay, so we've bounced basically around about where this low volume node, around about 3,600 points, and which is also the value area high of the 2020 VWAP close, right? That's basically where we kind of bounced, and we've bounced to there, and we've managed to sort of like have another stab at trying to get back above there, but at the moment it doesn't look like we're being very successful. So this is on the weekly chart. If I look on the daily chart, just to be a little bit more granular, you can see one curious thing is that this quarterly VWAP has reset. Now, we had been pretty much under that quarterly VWAP since the turn of the markets, right? So here you can see higher highs, higher lows. This is a bullish trend, right? Basically, on many times, you can see that it bounced here on the quarterly VWAP, it bounced here, it bounced here, it bounced there, it bounced on the value area low of that quarterly VWAP, same here and here, right? And here there was a little bit of sideways price action back in November 2020, but you see what I mean, right? So the great majority of the time we're bouncing on that, or either on the quarterly VWAP or on the value area low of the VWAP as well, okay? And then since the 3rd of January, we've just been under that quarterly VWAP pretty much consistently. I mean, we did rally above here, but then the VWAP reset, and then we got back under it again, and we retested it, consolidated a little bit, and then we lost it again. And we just keep losing that quarterly VWAP. It's almost like it's a bit of a mean reversal, right? So every time we go there, it kind of like just gets rejected. And for the very first time, now into the second quarter, we are above that quarterly VWAP, right? You can see the quarterly VWAP is here. It's very early days, admittedly, right? So we can very easily get back below this again. But like I said, for the very first time in quite some time now, that we are, it looks like we are accepted above the quarterly VWAP. You can see here on the daily that actually we retested this and we bounced from there. All right, this reset obviously because we're into the second quarter, clearly. And so now it depends if we actually manage to stay above that quarterly VWAP. That quarterly VWAP is sitting at around about 3,800 points. Okay, so that's one key thing that has happened on the higher time frames. All right, we're above the quarterly VWAP. That's a really good thing. Of course, the levels of resistance will still be around about here, which is 3,890 points, and then of course the VWAP close, the quarterly VWAP close, which is around about 4,100 points, which has perfect confluence with this low volume node. Okay, so at the moment we're struggling with this one around about 3,850. And let's just see if we can get above that. If we can get above this one, then I think we've got a pretty good chance of finding ourselves in it within this range here, between 3,850 and 4,050 points. Okay, so that's basically what the bullish thesis would be, right? That we kind of consolidate here for a while, and then the more we consolidate at resistance, the more likely we are to break it, and we break above it, and we go all the way up to here. Needless to say, if that happens, then that's very significant for Bitcoin as well. And I think we've got a very good chance of Bitcoin breaking some key levels and getting back at higher time frame levels of resistance. At the moment, we're just kind of testing support, failing support, testing support, and failing support. So anyway, we're printing, you know, in sort of context, we're still printing lower highs and lower lows without a shadow of a doubt, okay? But this could just be the first glimmer of hope here with a reset of the VWAP, the quarterly VWAP, which is a big deal, right? As I tried to illustrate here, as you can see on the turn of the tide here at the beginning of the year, how it all kind of turned and we became sort of like bound by that quarterly VWAP and below it, okay? So that's again on the higher time frames here on the S&P. So if we look at the shorter time frames here, of course, the monthly VWAP is also reset, right? As you can see right here on the 1st of July. So we are now, this was previous resistance, as you can see here, and here, got rejected there a few times. Needless to say, we were rejected up here. We were kind of rejected here as well. And even though we got above it there when the VWAP reset back in March, we got below it again. All right, but this goes back to the monthly VWAP had been kind of a little bit of resistance for quite some time, as you can see all throughout here, right? So again, basically we are above this monthly VWAP now. All right, so again, this is a little glimmer of hope for the bulls. We are above the quarterly, we're above the monthly, and it does look like we are rotating inside the previous month's value area low here. Okay, so we're rotating inside the previous month's value. All right, so we basically tapped the value area low quite a few times now, as you can see there, right? So 3 or 4 times that we've tapped that. I mean, we first reclaimed it here, got rejected on the monthly view up, we came back down, we got accepted inside it, accepted again inside it, and so we're rotational inside of that. So again, targets for that would be, we're struggling with this low volume node around about 3,860, right about here, right? But then we've got basically the previous VWAP close and the previous months, which is basically the month of May, value area low around about here, okay? And then we've got some serious resistance right above here, around about 4,080 points, which is basically the same higher time frame levels that I was showing you, okay? So again, we're above the quarterly, we're above the monthly, and even though we've just lost the daily VWAP here, we're still above the weekly as well. Okay, and this could just be, you can see that actually the daily VWAP is not being very well respected. Okay, we're going back and forth, we're just chopping between above and below the daily VWAP. Okay, so that's why it's important to keep context in mind and to look at the higher time frame levels. All right, so again, we're looking at this here as a potential level of support, and then of course this big low volume node here around about 3,800 points, which is basically where the previous day VWAP close was, and where the VWAP, the weekly VWAP, the current week VWAP is at. Okay, so yeah, so with that in mind, I think you could say that this is the most hopeful bullish scenario that we've had in quite some time. We're above quarterly, the monthly, and the weekly VWAPs. Okay, the daily gets reset normally, so of course it's not really a bull run until we are above the yearly VWAP all the way up here, right? But for now, this is a very good start. Okay, and this could be the beginning of something. I'm not saying I'm bullish, I'm just saying that this could be the beginning of something. Okay, so that's the S&P. In terms of the Nasdaq, let me just delete all of those levels, remove all the drawings. Okay, so in terms of the Nasdaq, you can see that it's very much the same scenario. We are above the monthly VWAP, the quarterly VWAP here, and that was quite convincing as well, the way we broke straight above it, right? We are above the monthly VWAP, and we're also well above the weekly VWAP here, and including the daily. All right, so again, it's looking fairly bullish, and this will no doubt trigger some of the algorithms of the higher time frame, of the high frequency traders that are trading this on the legacy markets, and this will trigger some of the algorithms to become a little bit more bullish here. Of course, we are still at resistance, and until we break those levels of resistance, there's no point of even talking about a return to the bull run. But there's definitely a little bit of a sign of positivity here, or at least hope for the bulls. Okay, higher time frame levels of resistance will continue to be the value areas, and I'm looking at this particular value area here, which is the second standard deviation of the 2021 VWAP here on the Nasdaq, okay, for 2021, right? So this here, which is basically about 1,200 and 200 points, is the next level of resistance, and it's a significant one, really. So that's on the weekly. If we look at this at the daily level, that's basically this level here that I've just put that line there. Of course, if we break above that, then we can go on to the next one, and the next significant level of resistance will be around about here, around about 1,300, sorry, 13,000. Yeah, 13,000 points here, and then of course if we break above that, then the next level will be this clusterfuck here, which is basically the value area high of the quarterly and the value area low of the previous quarter here, right? So around about 13,815 points. All right, so basically we have to get above this level here, and if we do, then obviously we'll be rotational between these two levels here, right? So between 12,200 and 13,000, and then if we break above that, right, so we can be doing this, and we could carry on printing lower highs and lower lows in terms of context, right? We're still in a downtrend. However, if we do break above this, then I expect the price to rotate here until we break to either side, and if we can manage to break to the upside, this will be the next level of resistance, right? And then hopefully what will happen is that this level here, which is now resistance, will hold as support, and we start doing constructive price action, meaning higher highs and higher lows. All right, so that's basically what I'm trying to get to. And again, it's a small glimmer of hope for the bulls, but nothing significant, no change in higher time frame market structure yet, but it could be the change of something here. Okay, you can see in terms of in terms of market structure, we're still very much low highs, low lows. We're printing new lows still. Okay, so it really depends on the news of the Fed and everything else, but we're starting to see a little glimmer of hope here with a higher low here. So if we could print a higher high and get above this previous high here, that would be definitely a sign that things are taking a turn for the best. All right, so with the S&P and the Nasdaq out of the way, let's move on to Bitcoin, and I'll start here with the higher time frame weekly chart. Right, so in terms of the weekly chart, you can see that I've put a few key levels here, which is basically the weekly closes, right? So I've got this candle, I've got a very, very close, the open and the close here. So basically the close of the previous week on the 13th of June, and I've also got the close of the 20th of June, right? So we've got those two levels of significant levels of resistance. They're sitting at around about $20,500 and $21,000. Okay, levels of support, we've got this previous weekly here 19,200 and then 18,200, much lower, okay, which comes from a level that comes all the way back to November 2020. So, you know, I like recency. I don't like looking at levels that are that are very old. I like the recency in levels. However, you can see that a lot of the time these levels do get hit, and they do still very much work. Okay, so for example here, you could argue that it was just because this is a high volume cluster and we fell below it. However, when we did come up to try and test it, where did we fail to reclaim that level? It was basically the weekly close of the 12th of July 2021. So, you know, these kind of still matter on a higher time frame, especially the weekly and the monthly and maybe even the quarterly levels, but I don't mark those out because it just adds too much. Okay, so for now anyway, because I trade intraday, I like to pay attention just to the sort of like the more immediate levels. All right, otherwise the chart is a mess. But anyway, carrying on with that, I'm going to take the weekly levels off, and I'm just going to show you those volume zones again. Okay, so basically I'll just take the VWAP off for a second so it becomes a little bit clearer of where we are. Here on the weekly, you can see that basically we had a little high volume cluster here. Right, I might have to adjust that because we have printed a few levels there, right? And also we have a high volume cluster here, right? At the moment we did kind of bounce here at first, but when we tried to get acceptance back inside of this range here, we got rejected there, right? That's around about 21,300. All right, so we got pushed down, but again we're getting pushed up again, and we're right on the edge of basically this high here, which is around about 20,050. Okay, so let's just say $20,000 for resistance. All right, so this continues to be resistance until proven otherwise. All right, and if I put the weekly levels on, you can see that we've got two weekly levels just above us that are preventing us from getting above this. If we break above that $20,500, $21,000 level, then I think we've got a very strong chance, especially with this large liquid candle, we've got a very strong chance to make a decent range between $21,000 and $25,000. Okay, that's just by looking at the higher time frame. Okay, so if we look at this on the daily, let's have a look at the daily, and I'll take the volume zone, weekly levels off, just to look at this sort of a little bit more objectively. You can see that basically what happened in the traditional finance markets has also happened here on Bitcoin. Okay, so basically there was that quarterly VWAP reset, right? That gave us a massive sort of short squeeze, which a lot of people got wrecked on, including me, because I knew it was the end of the month, but I completely forgot that it was the end of the quarter. So anyway, this triggered all the algos. We had a massive short squeeze, came all the way back down, it retraced, and now we're testing that level of resistance again. But the key thing is that we are above that quarterly VWAP. right? Just like I showed you in the higher time frames of the other charts on the S&P and the Nasdaq. Now you can see also that we've got, like, you know, like I said, we've got those weekly levels just above us here. But if we are to break above this level of resistance here, around about $21,000, 20,000 is the first one, obviously. But if we break above $21,000, then I think we've got a very good chance. There's an order block there, but there's a very good chance that we could come all the way back up here and maybe even retrace all of this and go all the way up to 28,000, right? But for now, let's not be too ambitious, because there is a little bit of a sort of a higher volume cluster there, which is basically why I've got this balance area. So now it would be nice to at least get, if we get above 21,000, to at least get to 25,000. I think we'd rotate there a little bit like this, and if we break above that, then for sure we will go to at least 28,000, which I think it will be significant resistance right about here, 28,500. So nothing's changed really in terms of the higher time frames. But yeah, so significant levels of resistance, 20,000, 21,000, so 20,500, 21,000. So let's say that's one level. Okay, break above that, we've got 25,000, and if we break above that, we've got 28,500 as the next level of resistance. If we are really to be sort of like bullish, right, let's look at what the bullish case scenario here is. Okay, so again, let's take these volume zones off and just look at the VWAPs. And I'm going to put the VWAP there. Okay, so let's start with the higher time frames. All right, so for me, it's not so visible here on Bybit, right? But on the weekly, there is something that is looking a little bit bearish, which is basically the second standard deviation, right? We've been rejected from there on the yearly VWAP quite a few times now. All right, so it's key that we break above that. If we get acceptance inside it, then yes, we should have plenty of room to move at least to 25k, but maybe even to that 28,500 level, okay, which is run about here, as you can see, as the value area low, the developing years VWAP. All right, the only thing that worries me here is that this is the value area low of value area high of 2020, and we are kind of accepting below it. All right, if we are accepting below this and we cannot break above 21k, then I think it's inevitable that we go to around about 14,500. I just think that's basically acceptance into a value area, right? Previous value. If we get imbalance out of value and we get an imbalance zone, right? When we go and seek balance somewhere else, if we get accepted within that balance, then it's only logical that we go and test both sides of it. Okay, so, and we'd start, the only thing that can disrupt that is of course the point of control, which is where this VWAP close is, around about 14,500. So that'd be the first target for the downside. Now, anyway, we were talking about the bullish case scenario. So the bullish case scenario for me, right, is very much happening here, just on the lower time frames, right? It's basically, the trend is still very much bearish. There's no two ways about it. Okay, we're still printing lower highs, lower lows, right? We're still printing new lows, etc. Okay, but you can see here now that on the daily, you can start seeing, okay, this is a higher low here, right? So on the 4-hour chart, let's just highlight it here. We are above the quarterly VWAP. We're also above the monthly VWAP, and we are above the weekly VWAP and the daily VWAP. Okay, so it's the first time that I've seen Bitcoin above all of the VWAPs for quite some time. Now, in context, like I said, the trend is still your friend, and we are very much on a downtrend. Okay, but so let's not get confused. I'm not saying that I'm bullish. I trade level to level. However, this is the best case scenario that I've seen for the bulls in quite some time, because we are above all of these VWAPs. Okay, so we're basically backed by all the algorithms now. All right, so of course, if there's a dramatic change in market structure and we lose the weekly, the daily, and the monthly VWAPs, then those will become resistance. There's no two ways about it. Okay, so anyway, I've got an anchored VWAP here from this previous swing high that you can see that's acted as resistance. Here it got front run, here it got front run, and here we pretty much tapped it, but we got rejected there. Okay, so this one has been resistance for quite some time. Now, we have tapped it quite a few times, but the VWAPs don't work the same way as a resistance level, okay, where basically the liquidity there gets exhausted. It doesn't work like that. This just triggers algorithms. Okay, the most immediate level of resistance that I see here is basically this point of control of the range, right about 20,500. Okay, now if I was to take, let's take these brush marks off. if I was to put this range back to where it was before I said that this range reclaim would be key, right? This be around about here, right? So now you can see that that range low is about there, okay? This is the range high, that's the range low. Now that range low, if we carried on that line, is reclaimed. So for me, this is bullish, all right? So you can see here that also has perfect confluence. If I was to put a little trend line here, for example, let's just put it here. I'll put it as an orange-yellow line kind of thing, right? You can see that the price did deviate below it. We bounced here on the monthly VWAP, right? We got back above that level. We got rejected at this point of control. However, we got acceptance here, right? At that previous range low. This is important on a lower time frame, all right? So, I mean, of course, the monthly VWAP is there, and if we lose that, it changes everything. There's also a low volume node here, 19,600. 19,800, 19,600 is a key level. Lose that, and we're going to go much lower. However, this is a bullish case scenario right now, for me anyway, okay? I'm looking at this level here, 20,500 is the first level of resistance. The next level of resistance will be this anchored VWAP here, around about 21,200. And if we break above that, then of course, 21,600, which is basically where this range high is, round about here, will be the next level of resistance, right? So let me just delete this a second, like this, right? And I'm going to extend this range now because obviously I cut that range short to about here. Let me extend this range and include all of the price action up till now, okay? So you can see that basically this point of control had been acting as support. We lost it, we came back up here, tested it as resistance, that's a back test, and we definitely got rejected there, okay? That's a rejection, but the strong rejection wasn't enough to push us out of the value, okay? So the previous month's value area low is where this orange line is, okay? So there was a little bit of a switcheroo here. We basically bounced on that current range low here, but I'm paying more attention to this one here, right about $19,800, okay? So if we stay above this and stay above all of the VWAPs, including the weekly, the daily, and the monthly, right, I think we've got a very good chance to going to 20,500. When we enter a balance area, so we were in a balance, right? This is the previous balance area low, right? The value area low. We came out of that and re-entered that, and now it looks like we got acceptance by bouncing on the edge there, right? This for me is a typical as a level, right? This was a range, we lost that range. However, when we came back up, instead of getting rejected at support, we got accepted back in, confirmed it, and that's the confirmation that we are accepted inside value, right? So immediately what I think is that we're going to the range high, acceptance within value, okay? That's usually how it works. So in my personal opinion, I think we're bound to 21,500 right now, okay? But this 20,500 is the one level that will kind of could screw things up. That's the point of control, right? When we enter a balance area, the only thing that could disrupt that rule number one, which means that acceptance means that we visit both sides of it, that's the point of control. That's the only thing that can disrupt that. So 20,500 is the key level of resistance, and if we break above that, then I think this anchored VWAP will be lost, and we'll go to 21,500. Of course, if we break above that, then the next level of resistance will be around about here. 24,250 will be the level that I'll be looking for potential, well, definitely for take profit on the long, but for potential shorts here, okay? Of course, that higher time frame level that we were talking about was around about 28,500. As you can see, it has perfect confluence here. 28,500 has perfect confluence with the previous month's value area high. And you can see here that 28,500 round about there, right? Which is basically this line here, right? Which is the value area low of the yearly VWAP. All right, so let me just sort of take that off for a second. So this level here is resistance, of course, 21,500. 20,500 is also resistance, okay? The key level of support is 19,800, which is the value area low of the monthly, but also happens to be where the weekly VWAP is. See that orange line there? There's a confluence right there, all right? So this level here, which is where the weekly VWAP is basically the value area low of the monthly, right? In terms of resistance, we've got that 20,500, 21,500, and if we look further up to see the next levels of resistance, like I said, 24,000, which is a previous monthly close, 24,200, right? It's also the value area low of the previous quarter, as you can see here above, right? So 24,300 for resistance as well, okay? In terms of support, well, this is really just basically where we are, right? We either stay above 19,800, or if we start losing the monthly VWAP here at 19,600, then I think we're bound to take out these lows and take out these previous lows and go indeed to all that 14,500 level, okay? That's basically what I'm saying. But at the moment we're struggling. We're at key levels here. We're at a sort of inflection point, and we're trying to see if we can change the dynamics at the moment, okay? The only thing that is encouraging is the fact that we are above the quarterly, the weekly, and the monthly VWAPs, all right? So I hope that makes it clear. So basically just really, really simple. Levels of resistance, 20,500, 21,500, and 24,200. Levels of support, 19,800, 19,400 as the last chance saloon. And if we lose that, then I think it's game over. I think, well, I don't mean game over, but I mean that we're definitely going to go much lower, and we're going to take out these previous lows at 17,600. I don't think those lows will stay untapped if we lose these levels here, okay? So that's basically what I'm seeing right now. 14,500 is definitely still a level of support here, and like I said, it's got perfect confluence here with the 2020 VWAP close, which is the point of control for 2020, and of course it is verging there on this. This is basically where this low volume node is, okay? Of course, if we lose that level as well, then of course we're looking at 12,200 as a potential level of support. But if we get accepted inside of there and below this level here, then I think the logical thing is that we go all the way to here to around about 8,000. So let's not think about that just yet, because that's too far ahead, even though it is a possibility. At the moment we just trade level to level, and I think I've just overcomplicated things a little bit too much. I hope not anyway, but I'm just trying to give you higher time frame kind of levels to go from, okay? So I think I've made it a little bit clear that we've got two key levels of support before if we lose that, then I think we're pretty screwed. But yeah, I'm looking at 19,800 for support and 19,330 for support as well. But like I said, because we are above all the VWAPs, I'm leaning long here, and I think that we're potentially going to tackle this 20,500, 21,500, and if we break above this 20,500, I think we've got a very good chance to start doing constructive price action and have a short squeeze all the way up there, okay, to 24,300 or something like that. All right, so that's what I'm leaning on Bitcoin. I am leaning a little bit more bullish than usual, but that's just because of the VWAP resets, okay? So you know, you can try and sort of like, it's not going to be bull or bear market forever, okay? And we have been in a bear market with minus 70%, I believe. So it's been a while, right? So everybody looking at 12,000 as the next level of support. So we could well just front run that and run from here. Look, above the weekly, above the daily, and we're definitely above the monthly as well, which is run about here at 19,600. So, you know, make of that what you will, but I'm leaning a little bit more bullish than I have been in the past. All right, so with that out of the way, let's move on to Bitcoin on Exocharts, and perhaps I should start with the volume profile, and I'll just reset that. Now, yeah, that's a worry right there. I mean, you could argue that that's been tapped, But we do have a naked point of control here at $19,000. Okay, that's not a good thing. That's not something I want to see. However, it's there, and that's basically what it is. The market doesn't give a fuck about what I want. We're basically trading an inside day here. We're still inside the previous day. We're adding volume at this low volume area here, and it does look like it wants to push down. It's already pushed down. It's gone back up again, but I do think that we're going up. Okay, and maybe leave this naked point of control behind. I mean, you could argue that this has already been tapped here, right? Because the naked point of control was left here, and then on the next day, we just kind of tapped really close to it here, even though we closed way up here, right? It came all the way back down. So this was the close, daily close, came all the way back down sometime during the day, and then went back up again. So you could argue that that's already tapped, and it just depends on tick size. So you could put it here, for example. Just changing one tick means that it's changed it completely. Okay, same there, look, right? So let's not get too obsessed about that, but there is a naked point of control here at 19,000. All right, it's an ambiguous one, but it is what it is. In terms of naked points of control to the upside, the next one is way up high at 23,650. So that's quite a way away. So I'm not particularly interested in this until we break that 20,500 and 21,500, but we'll see how that pans out. Okay, in terms of the market profile, let's have a quick look here, and I'll just take all these tools and I'll have a look at that in just a second. Okay, so in terms of the market profile, you can see that we've left a few pull lows here, which is not a good thing, right? So we've got a few pull lows down here. We've also got, just bear with me a second. In fact, I'll just do this. So there's the pull lows here. No excess on that. No excess on that. This one's fine, right? But these two have not been taken yet, and that's around about $19,000. Okay. You can also see that there's a lot of shorts trapped down here. Okay. Basically, when we rallied here, this rally was basically a short covering rally, as I'll show you in just a second. In fact, I'll show it to you now. That's basically why I had that there. And you look at open interest, and you can see, let me just extend all of those clusters. You can see that basically from here, round about here, right, there's basically the open interest is just going down, even though the price is rallying, right? Price is going up, open interest is going down. That means that shorts are covering, and I can prove that by just looking at this like this, and you can see it here, right? So basically, price rallies, all these shorts are covering, and that's basically what makes this. It's a short squeeze, basically. It's just a short covering rally, okay? And now we're kind of trading just below it, all right? So I'm sure there's plenty of trapped longs above as well. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that as well. So basically this little rally that we've had here is basically just a short covering one, which could be, you know, something that we might see a lot more of as we approach the bottom on Bitcoin, right? So in terms of net longs and net shorts, let's just have a look at who's off balance here. And it seems like it's very clear, even though the shorts are increasing here, it does look like the longs are the ones who seem to be getting a little bit offside here, right? So that's usually not a good sign, and that's maybe a pullback is needed before we do anything. In terms of the delta bars, let's have a look here. We're basically, expand the clusters, we're basically printing, in fact, let me just delete this here. Just make it like this so it's a little bit clearer. You can see here, this is basically a 30-minute chart, but it displays a day profile, right? And I just wanted to show you this. Basically, you can see here, we're printing higher highs on the CVD, okay? So everybody is buying here. Yet on the price, you can see a massive divergence with the price not being able to go up. So price is being absorbed, okay? So even though I am leaning bullish, there are things here on the shorter time frames that are telling me that we might see a pullback sooner rather than later, okay? I could be wrong, of course, but a pullback would be healthy because it would definitely be a better entry for a long position. So I'm looking at 19,600, 19,800 as the next sort of like level to enter, right? On the session profile here, you can see basically we've got a naked point of control below us here around about 19,500. We've got another one here at 19,900, and we've got above us, we've got a naked point of control here at 20,400, which has also got a session view app closed that is untapped, so it's naked there. All right, and then we've got finally another one of those view app closes that is untapped, well close to a naked point of control at 21,400. Okay, so ideally what I want to see, and this is basically what I'm hoping that the market will play out as. No, I'll just leave that for a second. We'll just do it like this. What I want to see is basically these two get taken out first, right? Trap a load of shorts, and then short squeeze and take out this one here at 21,400, and obviously that one up there would be great as well. Okay, if we are to if we are indeed bullish, and this is the change in dynamics in terms of market structure. Okay, of course I could be completely wrong, and we could do instead completely the opposite, where we do not accept above 20,500. In fact, we rally up first, we get here to 20,400 and we fail. So we take out this naked point of control, we do not get to this one at all, right? And then we fail, come back down and start feeling these gaps here. Okay, basically take out this view out close, take out this naked point of control, and lower to 19,200 or whatever. Okay, so that's basically what I'm looking for at the moment. I'm looking for, there's not really, in terms of session, there's no naked points of control down here. There is an imbalance here at 18,000. Okay, but yeah, I'm leaning bullish, but I think on the lower time frames, I think we need to pull back first. Okay, it's very clear here, the London session as well. Look at how bullish these guys are in London, right? Everybody's buying, and yet the price does not reflect that. It's being absorbed. Okay, we're printing lower highs here, right? And the net longs are increasing as we print lower highs. So I think we're due a little pullback, and I'd be looking at around about 19,500 really as the potential level for a bounce here. Okay, maybe 19,600, 19,800. That's the levels I've been setting to you, and I showed you on the candlestick chart, right? So that's basically what I'm seeing here on Exocharts. I did notice something here as well. I just forgot to mention it. So reset all the mergers. Reset all TPO mergers. Do not extend the clusters. Apart from this one here. Expand cluster. Now this one here is really, really cool. You can see basically here the delta, basically all these trapped longs. Okay, so everybody that went long down here, right, got trapped below it, and of course when the price got back to them, they probably got out a break even. However, when the price was way up here, right, the price was way up here, it opened outside the previous day value, right? We kind of consolidated for a bit. Once we get acceptance inside of the value, then Dalton's rule tells us we go to the other side of value, and that's exactly what we did. Came back to the other side of value, protected also by a load of delta neutral longs that were here defending this level, and of course that's exactly where we bounced, right? So this tells me that that level there around about 19,300, 19,500 is being protected by the bulls. All right, of course I could be completely wrong, and if price looks really ugly coming into that, then they might completely just abandon ship, take profits up here at 20,400, 20,500 or whatever, and abandon ship and just let the price go straight through. However, that's an interesting level nonetheless. So that's kind of the line in the sand for me, right? 19,300, basically where these bulls were protecting the level. Right, so with that out of the way, I think I'm kind of waffling, and I've been going on too long about what is likely to happen. At the moment, it's very clear that you can see it's basically just an inside day. We're inside the previous day's balance. Okay, if we look at the weekly, very much the same thing. right? So this here is basically the previous week's balance, and we're inside it, okay? Until we break above this level here, which is 20,400, and get acceptance above. If we can do that, 20,500, like I said, right? So if the price can come up here and accept above this level here, right, then I think we've got a very good chance to going to this next level here, which is 21,500, and potentially even higher. But at the moment, this is a key pivot here, 20,500. I showed you this on the candlestick charts, and I'm just showing you on the market profile just for confluence. But you see what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to sort of like simplify the market profile so that you guys see, oh, right, okay, this is starting to make sense now. I understand the market profile rather than just looking at candlestick charts and wondering what the hell am I on about when I look at Exocharts, okay? So, yeah, I think I've waffled on about Bitcoin for quite some time now. I do think that we are very close to the bottom here, and that we perhaps will not go and see that $12,000 like everybody's calling for. But I think we need a little pullback here, even if it's just to the monthly VWAP, perhaps the weekly value area low around about here, 19,500, before we see a move to the upside. Lose that level there, 19,300, and I think we're going much lower. Okay, but if we break above 20,500, I think we're going to go much higher. So that's basically the long and the short of it. Let's move on to Ethereum. And Ethereum here on the weekly chart, I'm going to put on the balance areas as well and take out the macro VWAP. And you can see that we're very much kind of still, you know, nothing's really changed on the higher time frames. This is support here, this is resistance there. And we're still very much stuck between $1,000 for support and $1,500 for resistance. Not really much else to be said about that. Okay, so let's have a look at the shorter time frames and see if we see any glimmers of hope. Well, again, the same kind of scenario. We're above the quarterly VWAP, and if we look carefully, you can see here that we are above the monthly VWAP. In fact, let me just take those two lines out. You can see that that's been tapped here perfectly. Perfectly here. Right, as you can see that there, so that got tapped perfectly and we bounced above it. We're kind of struggling with the equilibrium of this range here, with the midpoint of this range, but I think we've got a very good chance if we reclaim this to go all the way up to 1,260, maybe $1,300. Okay, that's basically the next level of resistance for Ethereum. Okay, apart from this one here that we're at right now, 1150. All right, so we're above the quarterly, we're above the monthly. Let's have a look at the weekly and the daily VWAPs. It looks like we've just lost the daily, but again, it's not being very well respected. Note how it's, you know, we're going straight across it, straight back up again, straight back down again. The daily VWAP is not really doing much, okay, which is basically telling you that the markets want to sort of like, they want to move, right? They're not really kind of wanting to range and just stay within a small range. It's only respecting the higher time frame VWAPs here, right? So it's definitely respecting the weekly, right? And respecting the monthly, as I just showed you. So same thing on Bitcoin. Of course, Ethereum follows Bitcoin, and whatever Bitcoin does, Ethereum will do as well. But it's just worth keeping in mind that we're above the weekly, the monthly, and the quarterly VWAP also on Ethereum, right? For now, $1,000 or $960 remains a level of support, potentially even as low as $800. Okay, levels of resistance, like I said, for now this range high here around about $1,300, let's say $1,280. Okay, that's the next level of resistance here. But if we break above that, then I think we've got a very good chance to going up to $1,500. All right, so that's the next level of resistance. Levels of support, like I said, $800, and if we lose that, then I'm afraid it's not a very pretty picture. Okay, so if we lose that $750, which is basically this level here, right, that means that we're almost certainly going to get acceptance inside of this range here. Okay, and if that's the case, then it could be anywhere between $800, $500 is a big round number, right in the middle of this range here. Right, and it could go as low as $321. That's if things get really ugly on Bitcoin and we go down to $14,000, perhaps even $12,000. I personally don't see it happening just yet. I need to sort of, I don't want to guess really. I'd rather just trade level to level. If we go there, so be it. I'm sure we'll make money on the way down as well because you can short. but I think it's about time, when looking at this kind of movement here, I think it's about time that we start seeing some relief bounces here and perhaps a little bit of ranging. At the moment, we're just printing lower highs and lower lows. The market doesn't care what I think, of course, but we could potentially see a little bit of a rotation here like this and then just start going up. That's my personal opinion. Okay, so again, this is a key level of support. Lose that and I think we're going to go much lower. $800, $1,000 for support, $1,500, well, $1,300 for resistance right now in the intraday time frames, but on the higher time frames, $1,500 is resistance. You know, you can say $1,450, $1,500 is resistance until proven otherwise. Okay, so ideally what we want to see is a little bit of a range like this until we break to either side, and of course if you're a bull, you want this to break to the upside. Okay, so that is it for Ethereum versus USD. Let's have a look at Exocharts and see if we can spot anything significant here that could perhaps help us make our mind up. In terms of market profile, yes, we left a few pull lows below here. Okay, we've got a few trapped shorts down here as well, and we've got a naked point of control at $1,050. Okay, so potentially this area here could get taken, right? Maybe even this level here. Right about $1,000. So we could see a tap of the lows, a sweep of the lows before we move higher. Okay, that's definitely a nice little excess, a nice little buying tail there. But like I said, we've got a naked point of control at $1,050 and a few pull lows just below it. Okay, in terms of anomalies above, we've also got some poor highs above here at 11.70, and then we've got a naked point of control at 11.80 and around about $1,200. Okay, and we've also got another naked point of control at 1,238. These are volume naked points of control, the ones in blue. Okay, the orange ones are time based, the blue ones are volume based. So yes, we've got some poor highs and we've got some naked points of control above us. So if we were to go to the upside, these are the levels that the price would get attracted to, if you like. Okay, break above that $1,240, then the next significant level of resistance will be around about $1,400, where we've got some single prints and also a naked point of control at $1,450. Okay, but this is a big gap in between those levels, so this is really the level that you should be taking profit if you are indeed long. This is where you should be taking profit at $1,240, $1,300, something like that. Okay, you can see in fact there's a little bit of delta positive here. There's a few trapped longs at this level here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys want to get out of break even. So if the price does rally all the way up here, do expect resistance at these levels. Okay, even if we do not tap that level there at 1238. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the volume profile, just see if we see anything different there. This is the daily volume profile. Well, we've got that naked point of control sticking out like a sore thumb at $1,224. Okay, and nothing really below here. Of course, we can't see the pull lows here or anything like that. But yeah, and we can't see that $1,050 naked point of control because the this is really just volume based. This is not a market profile, not time based, if you like. But you can see that the volume naked point of control has been taken here. However, like I said, the naked point of control that sticks out like a sore thumb is this one here, $1,224. Okay, so of course, if we break above that, the next level, the next naked point of control is all the way at $1,450. Okay, and the next one down here is $770. All the way down. So you see where we are basically on the map. Okay, so we could potentially take this one higher and then go lower, or we could just carry on going up and take those levels. Okay, but this is definitely going to be resistance around about $1,400. All right, so with that out of the way, let's move on to Ethereum versus BTC. Let me just have a look at these guys that are asking questions in the group. Welcome. DeFi coins, does that include Gravity Finance? No, I'm basically just going to chart all of the coins that are tradable on the FODL platform, and basically so all the trading pairs on the FODL platform. There's quite a few, so including AAVE, Compound, Binance Coin, FODL of course, and BAT, Basic Attention Token, Link, Uniswap, and Compound. I think I've already said that. And Massimo Petracca is asking, good morning everyone, any thought about the BTC logarithmic weekly with the 200 moving average? Yeah, we talked about that last month, but we broke below that, haven't we? I haven't looked at the weekly moving average for quite some time, but again, it's a crowded trade. Everybody was looking at that as support, and of course we went straight through it. So I think the macro conditions also changed dramatically. We're not really this is the first time that Bitcoin is going through a recession. As you can imagine, the last recession was 2008. Bitcoin was created in 2009 on the hangover of that recession. So this is the first time that actually it's a proper pressure test on Bitcoin, that we're being tested through a recession on the macroeconomic stage. And so I think some of those levels do not really apply. I did look at that way back in January, and I was thinking we've lost the 50-week moving average, so we're possibly going to the 200-week, and that's in fact what we did, but we did not bounce there. So I'm not looking at that anymore, and I tend to look at, well, you just saw how I look at things. I look at value, volume, and yeah, I just look basically at volume studies. So I hope that fits with you guys, and I hope you enjoy, and welcome to the channel. So moving on, let's move on to Ethereum versus BTC. Now the ETH BTC chart, and of course I just want to remind you guys that it doesn't matter what any of these coins do and what kind of TA I put out for these coins, everything follows Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin's going down, all these levels will be lost anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter too much about the technical analysis that I do on all of these coins, on the old coins, unless you're paying attention to Bitcoin. Okay, so that's basically the main denominator, right? So I will now chart the ETH BTC. So this is ETH, not related to USD, but to BTC. Okay, so you can see that basically we're still kind of struggling here to get acceptance back inside the value area low, the second standard deviation, if you like, the -2 standard deviation of the developing years VWAP. Right, so let's just take this magnet off. That's basically this level here. On the higher time frames, we're still very much bearish. We're still printing lower highs, and potentially we could be printing a lower low as well. We're not seeing that yet, but what we do see that is potentially bullish here is that we closed above the 2021 value. Okay, the 2021 VWAP close. All right, so that's one thing. Okay, we're definitely bouncing there, and this is definitely holding as support right now. That's around about 54,000 sats. Okay, so if we stay above this, then I think we've got a very good chance of start printing like higher lows and higher highs, and potentially going higher. But that's basically the key level of support right now. If we lose that, then I think we could potentially see this level here, 45,000 sats, as the next level of support. But if we lose that as well, as you can see here, this is the edge of a big volume cluster here, and it's tapering volume as well, accelerating towards the bottom, then I think we could see potentially a very sharp move all the way down to around about 35,000 sats. That's the bearish case scenario if we do indeed lose 54,000 sats, right? Looking in the higher time frames, let me just take some of these brush marks off. That's the higher time frame level, if you like, and I can put here some levels of support and levels of resistance. And again, let's just look at that again, just because I just want to illustrate. This is just basically volume-based levels, and I know it looks like it looks a bit crazy, right? And that's why I try and simplify without them. But you know, levels of resistance, you can mark these on the chart if you like. 57,000 sats at the moment is a significant level of resistance. Then we've got 60,000 and 65,000 sats as the next levels of resistance. And of course, this is the big one here, all the way up there, as you can see, is basically the yearly VWAP, the developing years VWAP. Okay, so that's basically the next levels of resistance. In terms of levels of support, we've got 50,000 sats, 47,400, and this one here is the big one, 45,000 sats. And again, it's not just because it's a big round number, but it's because it's the edge of this very tapering volume cluster here, right? So this, you know, losing this level here could see the price accelerate significantly, just like it did here. Large liquid candle, right? And the price could accelerate very, very quickly to come all the way to the other side of that volume cluster. Okay, so you can see here, large liquid candle up, we kind of rotate sideways, then we come back up, come back down again. If we lose this level, then the price will accelerate very, very quickly and go all the way back down there again, and retrace basically this whole large liquid move. All right, so again, let's have a look at the shorter time frames. We are above the quarterly VWAP. We are also above the monthly and above the weekly and daily VWAPs here. Okay, so everything is looking like it wants to run up. Okay, on the 4-hour chart, you can see here that we've been rotating sideways inside of this little range here. We got acceptance back above the mid range here. We got a deviation to the upside. We got rejected from the value area high of the monthly. Once we fell back inside of the range, we got acceptance back at the middle point here, right? The VWAP reset, we got back above the monthly VWAP, and we've been above it ever since, okay? And now we are above this previous range. Okay, so this is the previous range high. We've ranged above, we came back and tapped it, and now we are above it. Okay, so this could potentially, I could potentially see Ethereum here doing a little run and starting to outperform Bitcoin on the sort of, at least on the shorter time frames here, as you can see, right? We're printing higher lows on this is Ethereum versus BTC. Okay, so Ethereum does look like it wants to outperform Bitcoin in the near future. Okay, so of course those key levels remain around about here, around about 60,000 sats, and then of course we go all the way up here to 66, and 70,000 sats is an important one, like I said, around about here, these levels here, right? I'm marking them here on the 4-hour chart, but you can see them here, right? This level that I've highlighted here, it's going to be a massive line now on the 4-hour chart. There we go. It's right there. So the value area high of the monthly is also the second standard deviation, the -2 standard deviation of the yearly. All right, so this is a key level here, round about 58,000 sats. All right, so we've got plenty of, you've got now levels of support here at 54,000 sats, and you know that 58,000 sats is the first level of resistance. Break above 58,000 sats, and I think we're going to go much higher, and I've already given you the next levels of resistance, which is basically this one and this one. If we lose that level of support, then I'm afraid that 45,000 sats is inevitable, and we could potentially accelerate all the way down to 37,000 sats. Okay, so that's Ethereum versus BTC. And with that out of the way, I'm going to take out all these brush marks and move on to the FODL trading pairs. Okay, so we start here with the daily, and I'm going to move on to the altcoins. And we start first with FODL versus USD. And again, I don't think this is on OkEx, FODL versus Tether. And not really much has changed in the way of market structure. We're still kind of like, we're going a little bit sideways here. Let's have a look at the 12-hour chart. We're going it seems like it's slowed down a little bit, but we're not broken market structure at all. Okay, so this is the first level of resistance that I'm really interested in. This one here. Okay, this one is intermittent. There was a little bit of support there. This was like an intermittent level here, which basically we could very easily run above and then still carry on down. So I'm not too interested in that one here, just because of the nature of things, but I'm definitely interested in this one, which is previous support here, around about 240, well, at 2 cents, right? 0.0248. Okay, so if we break this one here, then I could see the FODL starting to reach for higher highs and higher lows. Okay, but at the moment we're not seeing that, so I expect continuation, and it's basically just lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise. We just need to see a change in market structure in order for these coins to start running properly. Okay, levels of support that I've got highlighted here are basically just big round numbers. Okay, so 150, 100, 45. Okay, this is actually 1 cent, and this is just, well, 1.5 cents. This is 1 cent, and this is 0.05 cents. Moving on to FODL versus USDC. This is sushiswap, and basically the same scenario. We lost another level of support, so I'll put that as orange because this is an interim level. I'm not really interested in this because how the price accelerated here. I want to see a previous level of support here, right? I want to see at least a little bit of consolidation. And again, this one here should be also yellow, in my personal opinion. Right, so on FODL versus USDC, I can see that the serious level of resistance for me is this one here. Okay, around about 6 cents. All right, as price has traveled so quickly through here, right? Although it's left a little bit of a few little volume clusters there, as you can see, that have highlighted them. However, if the price does find a bid, it will travel very quickly all the way back up to this level. This is the level where it will definitely find resistance, okay? But as you can see, this is like it's not a zero-sum game. I mean, you know, we're at 1 cent. If this rallies all the way to 6 cents, that's 240%, right? that's quite a lot. But so that's basically the level. I want to see a little bit of a change in market structure, though. I don't want to sort of like take blind bets like that just because the profit looks great. You know, this is continuation until proven otherwise. So I think we continue to print lower highs and lower lows until we actually break that market structure. If I see something like this, then I'll be thinking, okay, we've got some lower highs and lower, higher highs and higher lows. And so I think we've got a very good chance of going all the way up to here. So I'd rather manage my risk that way and just go on a confirmation rather than just blindly taking the trade and hoping that it's going to go up there. So yeah. So at the moment, you know, levels of support are again just big round numbers. Levels of resistance, there's not many. They're just interim levels all the way up to 6 cents. FODL versus ETH. Again, we're very close to that value area low. This is like the -2 standard deviation of the yearly VWAP, right? But we've lost that before, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it lose again. And we're basically, this is the genesis versus ETH, and this basically is how close it is to the all-time lows, right? Again, I'm not really seeing any levels of resistance all the way up to here, right? This is basically, it's very insignificant. Okay, price traveled very quickly through there. So in my opinion, that's not significant resistance. Significant resistance is all the way up here. And again, that's a big trade, but I want to see a change in market dynamics. I want to see a change in market structure before I start taking trades like that. Okay, I want to see previous levels of resistance getting taken and confirm their support before I take a trade like that. And I'll be looking at this here as the next level of resistance. Okay, but some amazing opportunities on FODL if we do indeed change market dynamics. Moving on to Binance Coin, BNB USD. Right, so we're still very much inside of the bottom of this range. This is like the indestructible, this is like CZ's defense line, right, which is around about $200, and $200 has been holding very, very well. Of course, if we do break above that, break below that, just be reminded, I'm going to put this on the logarithmic scale, just so that you guys see here what I'm looking at. I'm going to take the VWAPs off just so to make it a little bit easier to spot. And I'm going to take some of these brush marks off to make it even cleaner. Now you can see that's basically, this is one big leg, right? Large liquid candle all the way up to $200. We broke above $200. We've tapped it as support, support here, support. We deviated a little bit, but still support. But look how many times we've tapped that support on a large liquid candle. If this breaks $200, right, it'll be very quickly to get to 130 and to $72. I can guarantee you, maybe even as low as $50. Okay, but reflexivity, as my friend Cyborg would say, this is basically just a mirror image of this here. Okay, a large liquid candle that tends to get retraced. So keep an eye on Binance Coin. If CZ's level fails, right, at $200, you can almost guarantee that this is a great trade all the way to $50. Okay, that's the best trade you'll take on a bear market, right? So worth keeping an eye on Binance Coin. However, on the smaller time frames, let's have a look at this without the logarithmic scale. Right. So on the shorter time frames, you can see that we basically bounced at support again. The next level of resistance is going to be this one here. So we're in between these two levels, right? And as such, we will just bounce between those two levels until we break to either side. If we break above $287, then you can almost guarantee that we're going to go to 336, and that would be the next range. Okay, so where this here would be support and that there would be resistance, but we're not seeing that just yet. So for now, this is the range. Okay, $286. We're almost in the middle of the range, so I'm not saying that it's guaranteed we're going up here, right? But we are inside a big volume cluster here, and it does look like we got acceptance inside it, right? So if we got acceptance inside it once we deviated below, then there's a very strong possibility that we're going all the way up to $290, $289, something like that. Okay, so that's the range I'm looking for right now, and if you entered here at support on CZ's level, then well done. But again, just remember that if it does break that level, it could also deviate. It doesn't mean it's going to go straight down. However, if Bitcoin is dumping and it supports a dump on Binance Coin, then I think this is going to go down very, very quickly. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's Binance Coin. Let's move on to BNB versus I'm going to do it versus ETH actually, because ETH does seem to be outperforming Bitcoin. So I'm not going to chart any of these coins versus Bitcoin. I'm going to chart all of these coins versus ETH today. All right, so let's move on to BNB ETH. Right, so very nice. Okay, so we were at resistance, we broke above it, and we managed to hold that as a previous level of resistance as support, and now we're inside of this range. Okay, so as such, let me just take some of these lines off. I think this is now support, and this here is resistance. So with that, let me just change this to green to make it a little bit easier to understand. Right, so I do think that this level here is support now, and this next level here around about 0.24 ETH, so 240 way or 2400 way is the next level of resistance. And so Binance doing very well versus ETH, and it's outperforming ETH, and it has done for quite some time, since May. Okay, since basically Bitcoin and Ethereum have taken massive dumps. So we're basically inside of this range here, okay, where potentially, you know, resistance could go all the way up here. As you can see here, back in April 2021, we were in a, you know, ridiculous bull run. As you can see here, ridiculous bull run. Okay, but this is now the next level of resistance. This is the next level of support, and now it looks like we're inside of this range here on Binance versus or BNB versus ETH. Okay, so 0.2 ETH for support, 0.23 for resistance. Moving on to AAVE versus USD. Now we're still very much trading inside of this range here. Okay, so I'm going to take this off a second, just delete that. Okay, so basically this is resistance, this is support, right? So this range here, right? And that's basically what we're doing. We're just rotating sideways. If we break above that one, you can see that this was a previous range here. So then we'll be trading inside of this one. All right. But for now, it does look like we are indeed stuck in this range here until we break to either side. If we break to the downside, these will be the next levels of support. If we break to the upside, then the next level of resistance will be around about $113. Okay. But at the moment, $75 is resistance and $50 is support. So AAVE versus ETH. So this is interesting. Okay, so we've got two potential ranges. I've got this one circled here for a reason. We're obviously still inside of this one, right? We're still below this level of resistance. If we break above that, then that will be the next level of resistance at around about 0.0638. Okay, so at the moment it does look like this is a wider range, right? So this is a big volume cluster here, and it's divided into two. Okay, so it's a double distribution. So at the moment we're kind of trying at the middle, and it's finding hard to break above it. So that's resistance until proven otherwise, and therefore we're inside of this little range down here. Okay, so we're likely to go like this sideways here. However, if we break to the upside, that will be the next level of resistance, and we'll be ranging up there. Okay, we just have to keep in mind that this is one big range here. Okay, so this is just a halfway point. I'd much rather take the trade at the extremes rather than in the middle. But if you want to scalp, and if you're going to keep an eye on the markets, then this is a good area to short here, as we are right at resistance. Okay, obviously if we're here, you want to go long. If we're here, it's resistance. If we're here, it's resistance, so you might want to go short. Okay, if you were long from down here, then you might want to take profits here, because this could quite easily turn around and come all the way back down to your level. Okay, so I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. This is just for education and entertainment purposes only. So that's AAVE versus ETH. Let's move on to Compound versus USD. We've already hit resistance. It looks like we're on our way down to support now, and hopefully this level here will hold as support. So now let's just take some of these brush marks off, right? So it's very quite simple. You know, it's very simple. This is the previous level of support, so it's now held as resistance, right? So previous level of support was this one down here, but we could see a bounce even here, okay, where there's a little breaker here that we broke to the downside, then we break straight back above it. So this here could potentially be an interesting level to long, okay, for a bounce. So my idea for a range, right about here somewhere. Okay, so that's compound versus USD. Needless to say, of course, if we break above resistance, then this here will be the next level of resistance. If we break below this level of support, then we're looking at these here for the next level of support. And then if we break through those, I mean, we're looking at big round numbers now, because this is at all-time lows. Okay, so we're looking at $20 as the next level of support. Compound versus ETH. Okay, so these curved lines is basically the VWAPs. I forgot to put the VWAPs back on, so I'll put those VWAPs back on. I'm going to take these brush marks off just to make it simpler, so I can illustrate, because there are a few new people here. So basically, this level of resistance acted as resistance, but it's also very close to the value area high of the developing years VWAP, right? So that's basically where we got rejected, right there. As we got rejected there, the next logical level for us to go to is the actual year's VWAP, which is down here. So therefore, this here is resistance, this here is support, and therefore the range that I would expect to form would be somewhere around here if we are indeed to range. If we break below that, then we've got some levels of support way down here, especially with a high volume. You can see the high volume on this one here. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So this level here is an important level of support. As you can see, it's also the value area low of the developing years VWAP. All right, so you could say that this level here is very strong support, and if we lose that one, then it's, you know, whole hell breaks loose, right? We'll have to look at big round numbers again. But we are above the yearly VWAP, and that's usually a good sign, okay? So this is bullish until proven otherwise. However, this is a range until it breaks to either side, okay? This is support, this is resistance. It's as simple as that. So that's compound versus ETH. Moving on to BAT versus USD. BAT is still trying to break above this level here. So, you know, we are basically in a range. I'm leaving that as red for now because the price is still below it, okay? So this is basically the range here. It's very clear what we can see here. We've got an order block. Got an order block here, right? Which is basically supply. And every time the price hits supply, you know, we're getting almost, it's almost exhausted now. It's all the way up here. So it's almost at the top there, right? But nevertheless, it's still supply, and we've fallen below that line, okay? So this is the range that I expect the price to be trading in. It's basically this previous range that we've been at, right? We deviated below, but as Bitcoin starts to looking a little bit better, then of course BAT is starting to look a little bit better as well. Break above this level of resistance, this will be the next level of resistance here, around about 56 cents. But if we cannot break above 43 cents to get there, which note, it's also the value area low of the VWAP. If we cannot break above that, then I think the next level of support will be likely this one, and potentially this one, and maybe even this one all the way down to the bottom of this rectangle here. So we're looking at 25, 20, and 15 cents as potential levels of support. But the most significant level of support, or at least the local one, is this one here, 35 cents. Okay, so BAT versus ETH. Like I said, I won't be charting any of the charts versus Bitcoin, because Ethereum is starting to outperform Bitcoin. So we might as well, if you're going to be trading any coins, then you want to be trading to the, you're trading them against the best performing asset, right? Otherwise, there's no point of trading altcoins if they can't outperform the best trading asset of the majors. So with that out of the way, I just wanted to clarify why I'm trading versus Ethereum. So let me just delete all of this. So I hope that makes sense. Here it does look like we've just flipped that level of resistance. Okay, so this could potentially be, let me just change this to yellow here. This is potentially an SR flip, right? So if that is indeed an SR flip, then this here could be support and this here could be resistance, and therefore would be a decent range here. So a bounce right here where we are right now on BAT versus ETH means that we're almost certainly going all the way up here. That's a decent trade. However, if we fail this level here, then I'm afraid we're still going to be trading within this range here and potentially lower, because this is a large liquid candle here. So really the level I'll be looking for is this yearly VWAP, right? So we're looking at round about this level down here, right? But I mean, that is debatable. Of course, the next level of support, the closest level of support would be this one down here, and therefore we'd be trading inside of this range here. Okay, but it does look like we've broke above this level of resistance, and as such, if it holds as support, then it's likely to bounce all the way up to there. Okay, so that's BAT versus ETH. Moving on to Link versus USD. Wow, okay, let me just clean that up a little bit. I haven't looked at these for quite some time, but the levels are still very much being respected here. Okay, so this is holding significantly well as support. This here has been the first level of resistance, but obviously this one here being the most significant one. Okay, but I think this one is a significant one, especially with this little order block here of supply. Okay, or even though we've rallied straight through, that was a deviation. Probably news driven. I'm not entirely sure how we rallied all the way up there and we didn't change market structure, because you know that's a break, you know, break above the previous highs, but we couldn't print a higher low. So I'm not sure why, if that was news driven or not, but it doesn't really matter. The chart tells us everything we need to know. So basically I'm looking at this level here as support, this level here as resistance, and therefore we continue to trade sideways here. My mouse is playing up, I do apologize. Okay, we continue to trade sideways inside of this level here, just like we have before. Okay, if we break to either side, if we break to the downside, obviously this is going to be the next level of support, around about $5, and $3.64 is the next one. If we break above the $7 or $8 level, then we're looking at $9 and $10 as the next levels of resistance. That's on Link versus USD. Link versus ETH. So we're still very much kind of rotational here, and this is going to be resistance, this is going to be support, and you can see it's supported by the yearly VWAP. Okay, this is the value area high of the current VWAP as well, so that's obviously resistance, and therefore we trade between those two levels. Okay, and that's really as easy as it comes. Okay, so this is resistance, this is support until proven otherwise, and therefore the range is here somewhere. Okay, you can see that I've got a little mid line there, because you can see that there's an apex where the price was resistance, broke above it, failed to hold it as support. So when the price came back up to it, it became resistance as well. So you could consider that this level here should be also a little bit of resistance, but overall it's not significant enough to me to grant that you know, resistance level as such. Okay, this could be quite easily broken, go all the way up there, swing failure pattern on the previous highs, and then continue down. So that's why it's faint, and that's why it's in orange rather than red. Okay, this is a significant level of support as well, which is the yearly VWAP, and it's very close to this support level, which is the edge of a high volume cluster. So that's why it's highlighted in green. Link versus ETH. So let's move on to Uni USD. Uni USD still respecting very much these levels. So let me just delete some of these brush marks so I can just print the thesis again. Okay, so this here is resistance, this here is support until proven otherwise, and therefore the range is this one. Okay, you can see that it's been going sideways, although we had that deviation to the downside on that Bitcoin dump the other day. We're very much kind of still inside of that range. So these coins, even though they look like they're bottoming out, right, even though they've been in a downtrend for quite some time, it does look like this is an accumulation cylinder. I could be wrong, but I think, you know, we're starting to see high volume here as well, much higher than we saw here, as you can see from this, right? And with such high volume at these levels here, right? Look at this in comparison. This is seen in most coins. Look at that. That's a big accumulation cylinder going on there, right? So I think people are sort of accumulating on altcoins, okay? And Uniswap is no exception. So anyway, if we break above this level of resistance, the next level of resistance will be this one. It's a significant one because it's got a yearly VWAP, right? But and it's also a low volume area going through that. So the price will travel very quickly through that, just like it did here, okay? But it's definitely a level of resistance, as you can see here, right? So that's if we break above it, we go all the way up to $8, okay? If we break below it, then I think we're going to have to start looking at big round numbers such as $4, $3, $2, and so on for levels of support, okay? Because there's no previous price action, there's no frame of reference in terms of where the price, oh, I beg your pardon, there is. There is. Okay, so let me just, in fact, let me just do this in a different way. There we go. That's one of the rare coins on DeFi that have got previous price history all the way down here. Most of them are all-time lows. So I do apologize for getting that wrong. So right now we are, this is basically the 2020 VWAP. This is the value area high. This is the value area low, I believe. Yeah. And we've bounced here on the value area low, and we are above the 2020 VWAP here. Okay. We are struggling to get above the value area high, but on closer inspection, it does look like we've reclaimed the value area low. As you can see here, that blue line, the value area low, the developing years VWAP. So this is bullish for Uni versus USD. Okay, so as long as we stay above $4.50, I think we've got a very good chance to going all the way up to $8. Okay, and that's perhaps why we're seeing the accumulation cylinder so prominent at these levels here. Okay, so just bear that in mind. That's Uniswap versus USD. Of course, it changes everything if Bitcoin decides to have a dump. So don't go silly. Don't go betting the farm and the house and everything on Uniswap when, in fact, this could all just go to shit if Bitcoin decides to take a dump and lose key levels. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So finally, Uni versus ETH. Uni is outperforming ETH, which is great. Okay, so if ETH is outperforming Bitcoin, then you'd much better off be trading ETH instead of Bitcoin. Now, you find a coin that's outperforming the best performing major, like for example Uni. Well, Uni is outperforming ETH, which in turn is outperforming Bitcoin. So this is definitely outperforming all of the coins, and this is why I'm charting ETH pairs instead of Bitcoin pairs. So this is significant. We've basically got acceptance inside the value area low, right? We've smashed straight through the VWAP, right? Straight above the value area high, came here and confirmed the value area high is now support, and here we are all the way up here. Okay, so that's the path it's taken, and this is basically where we are right now. We're kind of rotating sideways here. So this is a significant level of support, and so is this one down here, right? If we are to stay above these levels, then this is a resistance, and if we break above this one, then this is the next level of resistance. So for now, we are rotating inside of this level here. Okay, so this is what I expect the price to do. Okay, just going sideways inside of that until we break to either side. Okay, a retest at this level here would be definitely bullish. Okay, but if we continue to rally higher, then of course that's even more bullish, of course. But even if the price comes all the way down here, okay, yeah, it looks like it's a breaking market structure, but this is basically a higher high. Okay, this is previous highs, this is a higher high, and coming all the way down here and bouncing, this is still a higher low. So this is still constructive price action. So don't be discouraged if the price comes all the way up here or all the way down here. But however, this could of course continue much higher and go to a previous level of support here, which is this level up here. All right, so for now we're rotational sideways, but this could go either way. If it goes down here, then definitely buying. If it goes all the way up here, then definitely selling. So with that out of the way, I think that is pretty much all of the FODL trading pairs. I hope this was useful to you guys, and again, welcome to the new people that have joined. I hope this helps you put in the right side of the trade. I'll put some timestamps on now so that you guys don't have to go through all of the videos to try and find the particular section that you were looking for. So I'll put the chapters and the timestamps on so that you can go to the particular coin that you want. I can do a little quick recap here on Bitcoin and see where we are. It does look like we're still above that key level there, but we've now lost the daily VWAP. I do think that if this here is a key level, the weekly VWAP, if we lose that one, then it's going to be very, very quick to get to 19,600 where the monthly VWAP is. And of course, that is like almost the line in the sand. Okay, the line in the sand is this one, 19,300. Lose 19,000 and I think it's over. We're going to, I think we're going to go and take out the 17,500 level and perhaps even 14,500, which is the next level of support that I've been looking for. So yeah, with that out of the way, thank you very much for watching. I hope this puts you on the right side of the trades. I hope it helps you take money out of the market. But for now, that's all I've got. I'll have another TA update for you guys on Friday. Just remember that this evening at 7 p.m. there will be volatility. 7 p.m. UK time. There will be potentially some volatility because of the FOMC meeting minutes. So just be prepared for that. And also for Friday, there will be some volatility like I explained at the beginning of this video. So until Friday, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye bye.